I think I want to be really specific because if I was just talking to anybody on the street, I'd go, it doesn't matter what kind of journal you write. Just the journaling is what you need to do. Just do that. But I think for a writer, it's not just any kind of journal. You're not going to sit down and just write about, what you did today and bullet points and then have a little picture and then you can move on. You're using your journal, as I was saying earlier, you're using your journal to find your writing voice. And to do that, there's certain practices that I think that you're going to have to undertake. And as I was saying earlier, I think there's such a benefit to journaling because it's something that you're just doing in private. You're just working it out, and later on you can show it to anybody that you want to. But in those early stages, you're just trying to get what's in your head. You're just trying to get it out there on paper, and then you can go back and figure out what it is. And I mentioned earlier about that first book that I got when I first got into writing called Becoming a Writer. Dorothea Brande is the name of the author. And the book is like 80 years old. It was written back in the 30s. And the language is kind of archaic, but she's tapped into something that I think is so important as a writer because you have to, and she talked, and I think I said this earlier, there's two sides to it. One is you get up first thing in the morning and you just write down whatever you're thinking about first thing in the morning, which for a lot of people is not very much because you're still trying to wake up. And that's the beauty of it is you haven't read anything else, you haven't listened to the radio, you haven't heard any other voices. So you're actually getting your voice down on the page. And then you can go back and figure out what that is. Then the other thing that she talks about is scheduling time to write. So if you get this practice one of getting up first thing in the morning, just writing stuff down, getting stuff down on the page, and then this other practice of being able to write when it's time to write. Those two practices will inform your writing life. And as I was saying earlier, I think finding your voice is such a big part of it. It's probably the biggest thing that you need to do as a aspiring author. And I feel like the only way you're really going to be able to do that is through this journaling process. And you write stuff down first thing in the morning. You don't read it at first, and then after a few weeks, you can go back and read things that you've written a while back, and you've kind of forgotten what you wrote. You've kind of forgotten the headspace that you were in when you got those words down, and you can start going, okay, that right there, that's really cool. I'm telling this story. Or you may read it and you go, wow, I'm actually pretty good at dialogue. Maybe I could be a good fiction writer. Or maybe I'm framing my journal in all these different scenes, and you realize that you might be great as another kind of writer. And through that process, you can figure out what your voice is, what your strengths are, and you can play into those a lot more, and you can build a writing career off of that.